Rules Committee will come to order. Let me begin by wishing everyone a very, very, very happy New Year, and to say what a thrill and honor it is to be able to spend New Year's Day with you. My constituents have been sitting in their spots in the line along Colorado Boulevard in Pasadena, California, an area I represent, watching the Rose Parade. And when I last looked, Stanford was narrowly beating Wisconsin in the Rose Bowl. And a lot of people are not as focused on what we're doing here today as some others are. Thank goodness, because we are in the midst of trying to complete our work, and I think that what we have before us is an opportunity to do that. We're here for consideration of Senate amendments to H.R. 8, the Jobs Protection and Recession Prevention Act of 2012. And we're happy to be joined by the new chairman of the Rules Committee. I was kind of dragging this out before we had the motion, Mr. Chairman. The distinguished, your leadership colleague was prepared to offer the motion, but now that you have graced us with your presence, I want to remind you in the future, be on time when you're bringing the Rules Committee to order, okay? I don't want these people to have to wait for you. I don't want these people to have to wait for you. I don't think so. We're not going to, as much as we adore you, Ms. Slaughter, we're not going to allow you to take the gavel if
Dave, we were having your cake downstairs, and you were late for it.
Okay, yeah. Well, I'm up here doing my job while you're.
Yes, sir.
You can have the cake and eat it too, as far as I'm concerned. So the chair will be in receipt of a motion from the distinguished gentleman from the hometown of the team that didn't quite make it Sunday night. And sorry, they'll make the playoffs at some point, but hail to the Redskins.
I'm still a Dallas Cowboy fan.
I know you are.
Ready for it.
I know you are.
Mr. Chairman, I move the committee grant a rule providing for the consideration of the Senate amendments to H.R. 8. The rule makes an order, motion offered by the chair of the Committee on Ways and Means or his designee that the House concur in the Senate amendments to H.R. 8. Rule weighs all points of order against consideration motion and the Senate amendments. Rule provides that the Senate amendments and the motion shall be considered as read. The rule provides 1 hour debate on the motion, equally divided and controlled by the chair and ranking minority member of the Committee on Ways and Means. Finally, the rule provides that the previous question shall be considered as ordered on the motion to its adoption without intervening motion or demand for division of the question.
You've heard the motion of the gentleman. Any discussion or amendment? Ms. Slaughter?
One comment, Mr. Chair. Happy New Year to all of you as well. There is a kind of let them eat cake feeling in here tonight. But I do want, for the record, to say that all of the ranking members of the committees wrote to the Speaker in early July, maybe mid-July, I'm not sure the exact date, but asking if we could not please begin to work on the fiscal cliff problem so that before we broke for the August break, that we would have that fixed and America would not be kept hanging by its toes. Our answer, I think, is what we're doing now, and it has been a hairy time for many of us up and down. I know your constituents as well as mine. I've been extremely concerned and extremely worried. I am happy tonight that we will do the concurrence with the Senate bill so that we can take this off the table and before the market opens up tomorrow morning, because I think the consequences would have been dire. And I mentioned before that we would be facing probably the worst displacement of workers that we've had since 1929. So we are happy to be here, as much as we can be happy to be spending New Year's Day here, to get this kind of business done, and we thank you for making this concurrence tonight.
Thank you very much,
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Hastings.
I ask unanimous consent to include in to the record a measure identifying other health measures that are not clearly identified having to do with cutting renal disease payments, cutting radiology services, cutting diabetic supplies. While I agree with the ranking member that it is good that we are moving on this measure, I would ask unanimous consent to include this into the record.
Statement will appear in the record.
Also, Mr. Chairman, referencing the incoming chairman and his being on time, when he is the chairman, whatever time he arrives is when the meeting starts.
Yeah, I know, but I think that I'm just recommending that he begin at the time that he tells you all that he is going to begin the meeting. That's my little bit of advice for Chairman Sessions.
Mr. Chair, may I ask unanimous consent to insert
course you
the
can.
letter I mentioned, which is entitled Democrat Ranking Members to Boehner Committee Chairs begin immediate
Without
bipartisan
objection,
negotiations.
the letter from the
Replace
ranking
sequester
members.
with balanced plan. Thank you very much.
And let me just say, I'm looking forward to managing this rule on the floor. And one of the things I was just thinking about that I was going to say is that while we're sorry that we were here New Year's Eve and New Year's Day and all, it's not at all unprecedented for us to go up against deadlines. I mean, they're both Democrats and Republicans. And this is so as concerned as people are about the fact that we are where we are, this is not unusual. I don't remember, and I'm in my fourth decade in this place now, and I don't remember ever being here on New Year's Day, but I will say that. Well, let me just say that the fact that we're going up against a deadline, is something that happens very regularly under both Democrats and Republicans. Sure, of course, I'm happy to yield.
Begs, though, regrettable that we knew this a year ago, and then we have this deadline. To my way of thinking, it's the ultimate in stupidity.
Well, let me just say, as the gentleman knows, we passed this bill that is before us months and months ago, H.R. 8, and we all know, I mean, the great line that I learned from our former colleague Al Swift when he was sitting with friends, and Al Swift had somebody say to him as he pointed over at the Republicans, "Oh, look at the enemy over there," and he said, "Oh, no. That's the opposition. The enemy is the United States Senate." And that is something that has always stuck with me, and so I appreciate that. Mr. Sessions.
Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. There has been quite some debate about us being here, even up to tonight. But in fact, we did lead August, and with this amendment to that.
Right.
And so the House led in August, passed a bipartisan bill, 17 Democrats, got it to the Senate, and we were waiting for the Senate to give us a reply. I think we did it in a timely fashion, Mr. Chairman.
Yep. Well, we have. And
I would.
But I hear it in the media about, I know we passed what you said in August and that it went to the Senate. And I agree that the Senate, and I've called it a black hole myself here. But it would be ridiculous not to know and have the public know that one of the reasons that the Senate cannot do anything is the arcane rule that they have that the Republicans use to their advantage, and I might add that the Democrats use to their advantage, and evidently it's a seesaw kind of thing until they change that arcane rule. So I accept that it was sent, but I have difficulty accepting that the obstruction that occurred not only on that measure, but other measures that you passed here in the House and other measures that we passed when we were in the majority.
Well, reclaiming my time, I think we responded within an adequate period of time as soon as the Senate worked their deal. And that's all I'm trying to say. We passed it to them. As soon as they did their work, we appropriately went about the due diligence, the work of looking at the bill, meeting with our conference, getting the votes, asking Chairman Dreyer to hold a meeting, and that's what we're doing here.
we all know that
short period of time.
And we all know that Article 1, Section 7 of the Constitution clearly places the responsibility on us. The vote occurs on the motion of the gentleman from Dallas. Those in favor will say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. Pay the chair. The ayes have it. The ayes have it. The motion is agreed to, and I will be managing this rule for the majority, and Ms. Slaughter for the minority. Thank you all very much. And with that, the committee's...
Yes. Just a question about the supplemental for Hurricane Sandy. Is there any?
I'm not sure if we're going to be meeting on that. A decision hasn't been made yet. Obviously, we're focused on this right now, and if there is a meeting on that, we'll certainly give you notice.
Okay.
Without objection, the committee stands adjourned.